Welcome to Surrogate Church. This is actually episode 4, and in episode 4, I bring music. And there is nothing like music to make any journey easier. So I have with me today my very, very dear friends and family, Richie and Cindy. Richie Coleridge is a singer-songwriter. Cindy is his wife, and she's an artist. She lives the life of an artist, and she's here with us today. Of course, I always have my surrogate daughter, Mary, here with us as well. So I bring music to the show today because for me, music makes everything easier. And this journey of surrogacy, it was not an easy journey by any means, but when there's music in the background, when I can find that music in my soul, I've always wanted to be a singer-songwriter, but I'm tone deaf, so it wasn't my gift. I don't have it. I can't write music. But my intention is to infuse my words with music, because what music does is it helps you to feel difficult feelings and at the same time soothe you while you're listening. And that kind of power is divine. So I start today with the piece called The Song That Calls. There is a song in the distance that wants to be heard. It carries a vibration of hope that cannot be denied. It holds a vision of tomorrow that returns to yesterday when the mother was divine and the Father showed the way. It calls out to the children and carries their faith like a torch through the darkness, like a ripple in the wind, ever expanding the deeds of the heart, generating a desire to be part of something good. This is all good. Music makes it better. And this idea of the song that calls, I really believe we all have that, and it calls our name. It helps us to know who we are at our brightest and lightest and most human. So many times during the process of the surrogacy, I would find myself wishing that it wasn't as difficult. And the next piece I'm going to read is called Surrogate Mama. My life has been a tapestry. I love that metaphor. I love the song, Carole King. I'd love to have her talent. Beautiful words, beautiful music together in a song that inspires, uplifts, gives hope and meaning to the otherwise mundane. I'd like my life to be a musical, a 1950s great American musical. Humor, romance, happy endings, dancing, lots of fun dancing, pretty dresses, perfect hair, men with tenor voices. Oh, to take all the dark, stormy places in this pregnancy and sing about them in the rain with Gene Kelly, stomping in the puddles of this process, embracing the joy that is possible even in the saddest moments. But I think I'm too cranky, too committed to keeping things real, too easily bored with picket fences and perfectly manicured dialogues to really be happy living in a musical. I read in the paper today that antidepressant drugs must now come with a warning that they may cause suicide. The happy pills, the ones that are supposed to make you feel better about yourself, your life, your existence, the ones that are supposed to take away the misery, take the edge off, make you feel like singing, actually make you feel like killing yourself. What's that about? Maybe we've got it all wrong. Maybe it's not about perfection. Maybe the tapestry needs to be frayed, awkward, slightly undone. Maybe it's our humanness that needs to be celebrated. Instead, we're given a diagnosis, a prescription that is dangerous to fill. Our children watch commercials on TV now and find themselves in the checklist of disorders. They ask for the medicine that will make them feel better. I feel sad. I don't feel like singing. But maybe that's my song, the one that shines light on the beauty of our humanity, our imperfections, our places of light and dark, lyrics of truth, messy, complicated, sometimes really ugly. Maybe that is my song, the one that looks beyond the mirror of our humanness and into the simplicity of our spirit, the uncomplicated awareness of the moment, sometimes beautiful, sometimes absurd, but always there. Maybe it is about allowing for many versions of truth rather than one absolute truth. In the musical rendition of my life, the songs fade in and out, sometimes leaving me confused, unresolved, disappointed, other times making me want to jump out of my seat and start dancing the Madison like in Hairspray. That's it. A John Waters musical. That's where I live. Surrogate Mama. Divine playing me in these days of pregnancy. The beauty of birth in all its bloody, poopy ugliness. So, we are about to transform our set into the musical Surrogate Church. Richie, my dear, is going to be playing a song that if my life was a musical, I'd want this song to be my theme song. I actually carry it in my head with me, and whenever I'm feeling bad, I think of it, and it just makes me walk a little bit happier. Cindy brought all sorts of goodies with her to bring some color, to some life to our brown set, and Mary asked if she could do my makeup with her finest supplies. So here we go, guys. Let's see the kind of magic we can make today.
I asked, what does it all mean? And she said, life is just a dream. You've just got to let it flow. It's best just to let it go out in the universe and throw the me away. Find the path that calls to you, and the stars will light your way. She said, you're not really lost, you just got some wires crossed. Sit back, just enjoy the show. It's best just to let it go out in the universe and throw the me away. Find the path that calls to you, and the stars will light your way. You're always looking for solutions. You're always trying to find your way. forget tomorrow and just live your life today. We talked long into the night, and she said, there's no wrong or right, you know, all you need to know. Sit back, you got to let it go out in the universe and throw me away. Find the path that calls to you, and the stars will light, the stars will light your way. The stars will light your way. The stars will light your way. The stars will light your way.
Now, if that wasn't just a little bit of Starlight on Earth, I don't know what is. Richie singing, Mary doing my makeup, and Cindy transforming the space with her colors, her art, her fabrics, her warmth, but literally in 3 minutes' time. And so, I really believe that is true in life. We can go from bland to starlit in a matter of minutes if we shift our perspective, shift our thinking, and have the courage to create something good. In thinking about the pieces I was going to read today, I wanted to keep it really sugary, musical, happy, because last episode we got a little bit fiery. And I thought, you know what? If you're going to bring your fire, you can't hose it down. Like, it's got to stay real. And so today I bring the story, The Magdalene Sisters. I watched the movie The Magdalene Sisters, young Catholic Irish girls imprisoned in a convent. Their crimes: beauty, sexuality, unwed pregnancy, sent away, babies ripped from their arms, pretty girls flirting with boys ripped from their potential sin, girls, victims of incest, rape, abuse, sent away, ripped from society, no longer a reminder of man's abuse. Girls imprisoned by their own families, made to repent for the gift God gave them: beauty, sexuality, the ability to bear children. Made to labor, made to suffer for the sin of creation. Made to labor, made to suffer in the Magdalene laundry. Wash away the sin, wash away the impurity, named for Mary Magdalene, based on a lie, based on true stories. The movie, made to air the dirty laundry of a religion based on the sins of deception, illusion, control, based on the sins of fear, power, punishment. Mother Superior, a superior sadist, given the power to beat, torture, and destroy the girlish spirit of beauty, sexuality, innocence. Sisters in the habit of ridiculing, shaming, and taunting the girlish spirit of curiosity, freedom, indulgence. Women of the church, the laundry has been aired. We can hide, easily hide, behind the sins of the men. Starch the sheets of their misconduct. Hang them out to dry. But we need to also step forward and take responsibility for betraying our sex, hating the power of our bodies to seduce and create and feed into the mouth of original sin. Covered up in black, how many of us carry stories of abuse by the repressed hands of dirty little nuns whose job was to douche away the girlish scent of the divine feminine. Sisters of the cloth who were given dominion over the boyish will of the divine masculine, measuring their own cleanliness by the wrath of their wooden rulers. By accepting a position that is less, by denying the power of our sex, we have stitched with our own hands a meticulous hemline upon which evil can dwell. Time has come to rip open the seams that have sealed our lips so that we may resurrect Mary Magdalene from the tomb in the basement where the dirty laundry sits and give her a place of honor on the altar of our ego. I carry a new vision. I carry a vision now of Mary Magdalene and Jesus standing together on the altar, reunited in their mutual respect and admiration for the gifts they bring individually and collectively. Mary and Jesus saying Mass together, keeping each other in balance, sharing the bread, the wine, the sacrament of a marriage unwed to the fear of God, made in heaven and on earth. Mary and Jesus sharing the chore of cleaning the dirty laundry, drenched in lies, the feminine, the masculine, equal in the eyes of God, pregnant with wisdom, the brothers of abuse aborted, pregnant with love, the sisters of cruelty aborted. Mary and Jesus, married to the mission of raising children who love the divine mother and father, sister and brother, in a world where truth blows freely in the breeze, and the church smells like fresh linens. So having Richie and Cindy on today, they are a couple who have endured crucifixion, and yet they still create, and yet they're still together. They are my example of divine partnership, of seeing each other through the darkness, holding the torch for their 3 daughters, moving in ways that continue to connect them to the light of God. Partnership, neither one standing alone. That's my vision. Mary and Jesus holding Mass. Ladies, we've got to take our place because we belong there. But more importantly, we've got to take our place because if we don't, there will never be balance and there will never be divine creation. in our beautiful marble stained glass window churches again. So without further ado, let's take some time with Cindy and Richie. I think I have to ring a bell for these two.
Oh.
They're so divine. How beautiful is that? Richie, Cindy, and Surrogate Mama. No graduation day for you. We've got music on the set today. Yeah. So, first off, what do you think of my little Mary's makeup job?
It looks phenomenally fantastic.
So natural.
So professional and natural.
She is such a cutie. Thank you, my Mary. I love you. I told her that I was inspired by her pants because she likes Adidas. And she said to me, sorry, ma'am, those are not Adidas pants. But they're as close as I can get. So,
They're beautiful.
Cindy, we have to start with some of these inspired pieces because it just changed the whole energy of the set. And Bobby will know that it makes me so happy, right? It puts me in such a good mood, where in other tapings I was so nervous or not quite sure. Like, it just wraps me. So what, out of the different things that you brought, what's some of the things that are special to you? I know you have some of your own painting here, right?
Yeah, and with, the feminine and the,
Richie, get it. Bring it over first, Cindy.
That,
Katie's painting or this one?
This one.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Hold it up so we
She's
can see.
a Cheyenne. She's Cheyenne, and she's. This is what they wore back in the 1850s and 60s. This is an authentic. I copied it from an authentic ledger art piece, and so she represents the feminine to me.
Now, have you always been an artist, or have you just
Yes.
returned to it?
Yes, I returned to it. I majored in art in school, and I put it down for a long time. And my daughter Katie is very talented. My uncle was an artist, and I think that's where I got it from. But my daughter Katie, the painting there under the podium, she did that, but she's also unbelievable at drawing faces and facial expression. She's phenomenal at drawing. And so through the years as they were growing up, I dabbled in it here and there, but I really put it aside to be a mom.
Yes.
And full-time mom. I did everything, from soup to nuts, literally, for them. And we ate dinner at the table every night, and we talked about their day, and among other things that were going on, obviously. And so, but yeah, I picked it up every now and then, and I really, back when I was picking it up around when the kids were still young, Richie said, you should call those spirit paintings. And then, when I showed my paintings to Marianne, she said to me, Sin, you should call them spirit paintings, right?
I did. I had the same reaction because I'll tell you why I said it. I don't know why. Well, let me ask you first, Richie. What made you think?
Do you have any of them here on set? No.
No,
They were paintings that you had to look at. They were usually one color, like white or red, and they had a certain image on them that you really had to kind of look to see, but I felt like there was a spirit buried in those paintings, so that's why I said you should call them spirit paintings. You could actually see an image in the painting. Even though it was just one color, you could see, she used different textures and different intensity of that same color, either a lighter brush stroke or a stronger brush stroke to bring that out. That's what it looked like to me.
Right, no, and that idea that you have the sense that there is life in it. Mm-hmm. And something that I love about your work is that you haven't lost the innocence of just someone who approaches their art with just a sense of innocence. That's the word that comes to me. So that makes it very pure and so filled with life. But also, I'm always curious about the darker times when you weren't painting. I don't know for you as Richie if there was a period where you weren't writing songs.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Did you feel like there was a piece of you missing?
Oh yeah. But you know, I was concentrating on other things. I was concentrating on making money,
Right.
which you know, I kind of felt like music was a dead end for me financially, and I kind of lost the artistic aspect of it. And I definitely felt there was a period where I stopped drinking a while ago, and when I stopped drinking, I didn't think I could create music sober. You know, I thought I had to be
Wow.
under the influence to create. And I kind of got afraid of writing songs and performing sober. So I kind of walked away from it for a while. I put everything down.
So then what ended up inspiring you to write again?
Well, there were periods where when we moved from Long Island up to Orange County, I was still writing, and then that's when I kind of tailed off with it. And then in 2016, last January, actually it was like last December, or no, December of 2015, Cynthia was like, you know, what are you doing with your music? And I was like, I don't know, you know, not much. But we had gone through some really traumatic times. I mean, I had done very well for myself financially, and due to a perfect storm of financial crisis, or whatever you want to call it, I lost everything. We lost everything. And I lost a fortune. I went into debt and everything, and I got very depressed. But out of that depression came the song American Tragedy.
We're going to
And
hear
when
that.
I played it, when I played it for Sin, she was like, you have to do something with this. She said, you have to do something with this. And she said, you know, there's open mic nights in this town called Warwick. And she said, why don't you go and play at this open mic night? She said, I'm going to call and I'm going to find out what you have to do. And she did. And she just kept pushing me. She kept threatening me, I'm going to bring you there and you're going to play. And, you know, she kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And Cynthia can be very relentless when she wants to be.
Sweet Cynthia.
Yeah. A quality which our daughter Sarah has inherited from her. But
Great girls.
she kept pushing me to do it, and I wrote a couple of other songs, and the gates just kind of opened. The floodgates just kind of opened, and I really started writing a lot. The early songs from that period are pretty dark, and because I was going through a dark time, so I think that kind of opened everything up for me. And I did the open mic night, and it was funny because I was really nervous, and it was usually just a single performer, just me and an acoustic guitar and other people with acoustic guitars, but the act before me was a full band. And it was one of the rare occasions where they had a full band, and they were actually really good. And I was I was like, great, I haven't played in front of people in 25 years, and I have to follow this band that brought the house down. They blew the roof off the place. And I got up and I did my two-song set. And the guy that ran the open mic said, can you come back and be the featured artist next week? Yeah. Wow. And I said, yeah, sure. Yeah. So, and then that just kind of launched me into getting back into it, you know, and here I am. And, you know.
And you know what? It's so interesting because I think there are those moments in our life where we just want to run in the other direction.
I've had a lot of those moments.
Right? Are you kidding? I cannot show up. Like that is the moment of it's almost beyond kind of courage at that point, because to write from the place where you are writing songs to really save your life at that point, right? To channel the pain, it is do it or die, right?
Yeah.
And you just had to show up, and you did. And then it starts to get a little bit easier each time.
I mean, I think I always had like a strong lyrical presence in my songs, but if you listen to my songs from the 80s when I was in the Windows, the lyrics I think were good, but I think the lyrics that I've written in the last couple of years have really come into their own. And I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but I just think that because they're very genuine and because they come from a place of me knowing where they're coming from.
Authentic.
You know?
Authentic.
So,
Authentic. There's the word.
Do you think that the alcohol, like that that bridge you had to cross when you were no longer drinking and writing, and you had to start to write sober. Did the alcohol take away that kind of inner critic? Like, what part were you afraid of not being able to compose?
Well, I think the alcohol helped me to lose my inhibitions, or I thought it did.
Okay.
I thought that it put me in a place where I could really open up and be creative, but I don't find that. I think being sober and being really clear-minded and clear-headed has really connected me to a much more fertile ground, you know?
Absolutely, and truth.
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, that the first piece that I read about the song That Calls, I really think that you're a musician. That's your song.
Yeah.
That is your song. Same way, like Cindy, you're an artist. Like, even during the dark periods, even when you're not producing, it's still who you are. So I'm a writer, and there were periods where I just did not pick up the pen. I went mute.
Right.
I am not writing. I'm not speaking. I have nothing to say. This is stupid. All of that kind of stuff. But it didn't stop the way that I processed. Right, Cindy? The way I saw the world.
Yes.
So do you feel like you see
Yes.
more in color and pattern?
Marianne, you know, today, I'm in recovery myself.
Very powerful.
And it's very powerful. It is transformational, which
Right.
is what we just did to the set. Richie's songs, his life, your life, all of us. And today, I just started writing a new little, I don't even want to call it a poem, I just started writing. You know, I see the world with wonder through new eyes.
Yes. Innocence.
I feel, like I can feel the plants and the trees and the sky. And that's the way that I see things. I see things like in living color. That's what I see. I see things that way. I, you know, at one point I said, "Oh, it's offensive to my eyes." Things get
too much.
Yeah, and so that's the way I see. I see through artists' eyes all the time, and you know, I'm a collector of things. I do. I collect things, little things. And so, yeah, that's, for me, it's been very transformational, my journey with my recovery. And it's just a short recovery, but it's still, it seems long for me.
Well, it's the getting started.
Yeah.
And crossing the threshold is so profound and difficult and scary. There's no other word. But
Yeah.
you crossed it, and it sounds like in American Tragedy, right? Even the title of that song, when I hear that, I go, "Oh my God!" And yet you're still not only both still standing, but you're sitting and you're creating and you're like doing good in the world. So the song to me, and I can't wait for us to play it, it's a marker of capturing the moment of darkness, but then transcending it by turning it into a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is everything that seemed to come to me. That was the lesson, the hard knocks life lesson in the surrogacy, where how do we somehow create a way to bring this to life? And even just sharing the pain. So let's go to the song,
Okay.
American
Sure.
Tragedy, and then we'll talk about it a little bit
Okay.
after we hear it.
Sure.
That would be great.
He said, "Baby, they just made me a manager, and that's an extra $100 a week." She said, "That's great, but the transmission in the car just died, and I'm so angry I can't even speak." He said, "Listen, babe, we're gonna be alright. I'm gonna make everything okay. She said I used to believe in miracles, but this one seems a little too far away. I felt that freight train coming towards me like a shadow in the night, and I stood there frozen on the track like a deer in a bright spotlight. Well, my wife and my 3 children, they paid the price for my doubt and my fear. Oh God, I have just one question for you. How the hell did I end up here? 'Cause my ancestors, they promised me a dream of hope and prosperity, but I can't wake up from this nightmare of an American tragedy. I pulled the plow until my hands were raw. Yeah, I bled red, white, and blue. Always paid my taxes and my bills, even helped out a soul or two. But when hard times hit my family, there was no one there at all. I dialed 911 till my fingers ached, but nobody took my call. And my ancestors, they promised me a dream of hope and prosperity, but I can't wake up from this nightmare of an American tragedy. And I believe that the streets here were paved with gold, and I walked them with determination. I never thought that someday I would be too old or have too little education. I built my towers high and mighty on the bedrock of the past. I never dreamed that they'd come tumbling down in one final deafening crash. And as I sift through the wreckage, looking for an epiphany, I just hope that someone hears my prayers, could somehow rescue me. 'Cause my ancestors, they promised me a dream of hope and prosperity, but I can't wake up from this nightmare of an American tragedy. Yeah, my ancestors, they promised me a dream of hope and prosperity, but I can't wake up from this nightmare. No, I can't wake up from this nightmare. I cannot wake up from this nightmare of an American tragedy.
Wow. There's a lot of feeling held in that song.
Oh yeah. Well, everything kind of came out at once that had built up for years.
My gosh.
So and it's kind of funny because, well, not funny, but when I play that song, anywhere I play that song, I always get a few people, depending on the size of the crowd, 3 people or 30 people. But some open mic nights is not a lot of people. But I always get somebody that comes up to me and says, "Wow, that song is about me. That song is about my life. I had a huge crisis in my life, and or I'm lost. I can't understand what's going on in this country or in the world." And it seems to strike a chord with a lot of people.
Well, so many people did crash with the financial market, lost lots of money. That was your industry,
Yeah.
right? And how do you come back from that?
Very slowly.
That is important.
Yeah, very slowly.
You know what? That is really, really important, because we look for the quick fix.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? The quick turnaround.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in commodities. I mean, I was making money like that.
And quickly, yes. Yeah. So to really be able to suddenly have to rebuild from ground zero. From that song, Cindy, what's your favorite lyric?
Marianne, I really don't have a favorite lyric. I think I think probably the opening of the song, truthfully. I see that freight train coming towards me. Now, just visualize that. You see it coming, but you're like a deer in the headlights. You can't move.
Right.
You're stuck, and you can't move. And that was what happened to our lives. You know, I remember sitting in the kitchen, and I looked at Richie when he started working from home, and I thought, wow, we're going to have to sell the house.
Wow. Oh.
We are going to have to sell the house. And I looked around, and we had just transformed the kitchen into this beautiful space. I remember when it was finished, and I designed the kitchen, and I was like, it took my breath away. And that moment took my breath away. We're going to have to sell the house.
You're going to have to leave your
We're
kitchen.
going to have to leave the kitchen and leave the home that these children grew up on. And it was in and on the property, the land. And so, yeah, that was something. I think it's the beginning of the song. But it's really also the emotion of what Richie sings it with, because I can remember when he sang it one time up in Warwick, a lovely town in Orange County on the west side of the Hudson River, across from Westchester. And I can remember how he was wearing his sunglasses, and with the emotion that filled the room, you could hear a pin drop. You could actually hear a pin drop. And, you know, tears were coming down my eyes, not just for us, but for all of society. You know, I know that my thoughts and my actions affect everyone in the world.
It's a ripple effect, the
ripple.
butterfly effect,
That's
right?
right. And so, yeah, and I think that for people coming up to him and just, Richie is an incredible lyricist. And every song that he writes, I truly believe, speaks. Just how your words touch the soul of individual human beings. That's how I feel about Richie's music. And it's got to get out there, and I'm grateful to be here today. Thank you for asking.
I'm so proud of the two of you, and really, more than that, I feel like we need you as role models. Of it is, you know, like we can fall down at any time.
Oh, yeah.
Even after you've built a lifetime, you're about not far from retirement, and now we're starting over. But I think it's very interesting, Cindy, that you, in one of Richie's darkest moments, right? Everything's lost, and it's going to take a long time, and just sort of the pain of that you thought to bring music back in. Why?
Well, you know, Marian, because that's who Richie is. Richie was very unhappy trading commodities, and my drinking progressed. His drinking progressed. I would cook at home with the bottle of wine, and I just had all these fantasies of delusions of grandeur. And Richie would come home from work, and it was always, what kind of day did Daddy have? Let's see what it was like. And that's one of the reasons why we didn't move out further out east, because the commute was horrendous. It was too much to go into the trade center at the time. It was before 2001. And so, and then after 2001, and he went back a week after. Wow. Can you imagine that he saw the chars and the everything coming up out of the ground and the trade center? It was horrendous.
Well, there's a reference in American Tragedy when I say I built my towers high and mighty on the bedrock of the past. I never dreamed that they'd come tumbling down in one final deafening crash.
That is exactly that.
That's what happened.
And that was very symbolic to me.
Well, because that says it was trauma.
Yeah.
This wasn't something that is like, okay, I took a hit.
No.
This lives in the realm of traumatic.
Oh, it was devastating.
Because it's the loss. But again, I go back to this idea of divine partnership. I think one of the key, and look, it's, my situation where I'm about to be out of my partnership, but I do think that what partners do is they hold each other's light. And at times of darkness, they're there to remind you who you really are. So to me, in that moment when Cindy says to you, so what are you doing with your music? That's the reminder that's the song that calls. She held your song
Right.
of who you are. You hold her song of who she is. So she held that piece, and that woke up in you a sense of, oh yeah, what am I doing with my music?
Right. Exactly.
Music returns. Music is your God-given tool. I do believe that God gives each one of us something to make it through
Oh,
earth.
yeah.
And my father always said, you know what? Life on earth is hell. It's hard. But we're all given some lightsaber that gets us through.
Yeah.
Yours
Yeah.
is your music, right?
Yeah.
And I just want to make one brief point with that song. You know, it wasn't just, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about my financial situation then and now, because it was a lot more than just losing a fortune. It was losing my identity. Because, you know, as a man, I identified with being a provider, a good father, a good husband, a provider for my family. And when that was taken away, I really felt like I had nothing, you know, like I was a shell. And I just kind of felt aimless, you know, and purposeless. And I'm surprised that I wasn't really driven sooner to music, but I think it was just it was buried under so much rubble that it was very hard for me to get to it, you know.
Yeah. And self-punishing.
Yeah.
Not
well, right,
to.
exactly.
Right? I'm not going to do what makes me feel better. I
Right,
don't
I wanna
deserve it.
suffer.
I'm not worthy.
Right, exactly.
I need to be in pain and to
Exactly.
suffer.
Yeah.
And in our culture, if you don't make money at something,
Oh, yeah.
you're not seen
You're a
as
failure.
success. And you can't even call yourself that. Cindy, by trade, is not an interior designer, but you are a designer.
Right.
You swept in here
The way I
today
think.
with a couple of things. I said, Cindy, bring whatever you want, and boom,
Right.
this interior has been transformed
Right.
and designed differently.
And over the years, I've definitely lost more money on music than I've made on music, for sure.
Right, you're not-
It's definitely operating in the red big time, so.
Yes.
I
Cindy,
do
what
have
were
to
you gonna
say, I do have to say that through that time period, though, Richie was still writing music. He taught himself how to play guitar very well, by the way, and not only
that.
guitar. Well, I think so. I think you play better than a lot of people that say that they are guitarists. But anyway, that's just my humble opinion. And also, so I would hear Richie play music in the house. And by the way, our girls were brought up with music.
Yes.
They were brought up with music. We would take road trips to Prince Edward Island, and Richie would make CDs, and the
Playlists,
girls
yeah.
know the 50s, 60s. So when you were describing your music, you know, your play and the music, and that the girls know 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s,
They
90s.
have history.
They
Oh,
have
yeah.
The whole
And
history.
so, but he was still writing. I would hear him, and I would encourage him through that because he is a musician. I am an artist, and I lost that for so long because drinking took that away from me. That's something that, you know, first it was fun, and first we had a great time, and then it just took everything away, everything. And so now, life.
It's awake.
We're
it's awake.
alive. And back to my, you know, I'm painting, and he's just a musician. This is what
Truly.
Richie, and then he makes a living to make money.
Right.
But music first. Music first.
Yeah, it is time for that. That time is now to be who you really are and who you're called to be. Now, let me ask you a little bit, just because I read a very fiery piece, the Magdalene Sisters, about...
I was kind of afraid to walk on the set being the only guy here, well, besides Bobby. But
Right. Well, it's interesting, Richie.
I was definitely a little like,
Because
okay.
last week I really called the priests to task on, you know, their piece of corruption, and I felt like this week we needed to call the women more to task, because as women we've really accepted a place that's less. But you come from, let me put it this way, how does faith or God play into your creation, your lifestyle? I know recovery is a spiritually based program, and I really do believe you need spirituality to move through trauma and recovery, because those are just such difficult, dark places. How does it work in each of your lives?
For me, it works first and foremost. I have my connection, and without God, I don't think I could stand alone. I could not stand alone. And my faith is secure. I do my best to think before I speak. And I do my best to live my life with empathy. I use that word empathy and discerning because I think that they're very powerful words.
They are.
Compassion is a very powerful word as well, but when I can put myself in my child's position, our 2 grown adult daughters live with us because they can't afford to live on their own. And that's the reality of today.
Yes.
And so we sold the big house on the big property on the beautiful block across from the lake, and we moved back to where I feel like I'm home, Long Island. I am home. And so we live a very beautiful, humble, I don't need a lot. We got rid of a lot. It was cathartic. It was beautiful. And so for me, God is major in my life and a part of my recovery, as Marianne just said. So my decisions that I base my life upon, Richie and I have really renewed our life and our commitment and our love. And that is a trickle down to our children. And I truly believe everyone who comes into our life, we are surrounded now with authentic, genuine, loving people, because that's what I invoke. Just truth.
Yeah, that's what you're calling in. You want to call it in, and
so
you
the
begin
truth is
to
that
live
God
it.
is with me
Yes.
at every moment of the day.
And different, though, from church. Were you Catholic
Yes.
schoolgirl?
And that touched me. I was a Catholic schoolgirl. Everything in your poem, in your writings, and I believe your teachings, Marianne, because you know how I feel.
Yeah.
And I believe it's teaching, and I believe that your word is so powerful.
I was not a Catholic schoolgirl, but it touched me just the same.
He was an altar boy, though.
I was an altar
You
boy.
were.
Yes.
I welcome
He was
you.
an altar
But,
boy. Yeah, and so I got the ruler. I got the scary nuns where I looked up and they were all covered up except this. And then when they changed their habits and going to novenas every Wednesday, and really, it was traumatic.
Well, what's traumatic about it, and it's back to our concept of innocence that we're talking about in approaching what we create. In targeting children lose a sense of their innocence and trust in the keepers of God. So if that makes God a scary being, where it then takes so long to really create a relationship with a loving God who will support you, protect you, love you unconditionally.
See, I had a hard time believing that for a long time.
Right, me too.
Especially when everything
Yeah.
was, I don't like to say it was taken away from me, because that's I don't know, that sounds kind of whiny, but when everything changed.
I like that.
I really lost my faith in any kind of compassionate universe or God or whatever you want to call it. I kind of felt abandoned, and I definitely felt like there's nobody
Where's
out
God?
there.
What God would do
what
this
God
to
would
me?
do this to me, and of course there's other people that are in far, far, far worse circumstances. But I wasn't looking at them. I was looking at myself, and I was feeling sorry for myself. And I definitely lost my faith in, because, Sin and I did a lot of stuff. We worked with Gary Zukov, who wrote The Seed of the Soul for 3 years. And we did a lot of soul searching. We went to a ton of seminars. We spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on self-improvement, and I have this song, Being Enlightened, where I write about that kind of in in an autobiographical but kind of a humorous way too. And I always introduce the song live by saying, I tried all the isms. I tried Buddhism and Taoism and alcoholism, and alcoholism seemed to work for a long time. And, but I was always searching, and I still don't feel like this is the difference, I think, in my old age as compared to my youth, is I think that now I accept the mystery and I accept that they're just, in stars, I say you're always looking for solutions. You're always trying to find your way. Sometimes there are no resolutions.
Right.
And,
Yes.
And there are sometimes situations just don't resolve, or they don't resolve the way that I want them to.
I love that, and I feel like it's a really important message where I think it's a perfect way to close the show today with Enlightened, right?
Sure.
Because we are looking at lightening up, right? Being able to bring more light, raise vibration, like you're talking about, Cindy. But there is something in music, and it's part of why it is so profound to me, is that I think music can hold mystery.
It's magic.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
it reconciles,
Absolutely.
like dissonance. You can have dissonance, and then you can have such comfort,
Oh, yeah.
tension, release. It's happening within just this moment.
Right.
And that is in and of itself is so beautiful to just bathe ourselves in,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes
Yes.
that's
Oh, yeah.
simple to really take that in and to take in this place of, you know what? Sometimes there is a greater mystery.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the surrender
Right.
to, I don't know.
Right.
I don't quite have it figured out. And if we go back to the more innocent way of approaching it, the child loves mystery,
Yes.
right?
Sure.
Magic.
It's magic.
Life
it's
is magic.
just
Magical.
It's like
Right.
the angels or
Right.
God.
We didn't have to know
or
why.
They don't
Just-
need
right.
to know why. They don't need to prove it.
As I got older, I needed more and more to know why.
Yes.
And it seemed like I have another
just
song
is.
where the heck is the name of the song? I'll Lift You Up.
Oh,
And
I love
there's
it.
one line that says, you will look for answers, but you'll only find more questions.
Yes.
And that's what started happening to me. And it's kind of funny because when I wasn't writing a lot and when I had kind of pulled myself out of music, that's when I really felt disconnected from any kind of God or creative being or divine intelligence or whatever you want to call it. But as soon as I reconnected with music, I seemed to get a lot of that spirituality back into my life, so. And probably because of all the vibration and all, everything
you
that
found
music
your way back to you, or what Cindy says is home.
Yeah.
Right.
Like home, there is this home inside of us, I believe, where truth lives. And I know for me too, when I'm writing, that when I write and I get it, like I just know, like it lights up inside. Like that's it. That's the expression. And so with song or with art or with creating a bowl of apples on the table, expression.
Right.
Expression.
Right.
When it's infused with light,
Being a surrogate mother.
That's right. That's right.
Which, as a songwriter, a lot of times I do feel like a surrogate because sometimes I feel like the songs come from other places besides myself.
I love that. Okay, so
and I
let's
give birth to
yes,
Yes.
do that. Let's
Yes.
talk about that because that has been a question that's come up on the couch. Just other ways that people are surrogates. So you are a surrogate for this music that channels through you.
I really believe that it's not really me that's writing the songs. I'm just kind of channeling it.
Yes.
Like I'm just a lightning rod for it or whatever you want to call it.
You are connected.
That I'm connected to something and I get these songs because sometimes I'll be laying in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and a whole song will come into my head. I wrote American Tragedy in literally 5 minutes. Everything just came out at once. I never changed one line to it or anything. Matter of fact, the intro that I do live isn't really part of the original song. When I say that, baby, they just made me a manager part, that just came to me like after I wrote the song. And I said, it would be cool to have a little live thing to do with that. And I've been very blessed that I can write pretty much, if you ask me to write a song about something, I can pretty much write a song about anything really quickly.
Oh, let's go.
And I
you're,
think
you're on the spot. Last week
and,
I made the
you know.
kids write a poem, Surrogate Church.
I love
Surrogate
it.
Church.
Go.
Okay.
Surrogate
Let's see.
Church.
Surrogate Church.
Where do you live? That was good. Come on.
Sometimes we feel lost. We can't find our way. There are certain people who can help us through our day. They might not be blood, but they have our heart. They will take us through our lives, even the hardest part.
Are you kidding?
Oh my God,
Come
I'm crying.
on.
I'm crying. I really am.
So
Get over here.
I'm
Big
crying.
hug.
I'm crying.
You're crazy.
Amazing.
You two are amazing, enlightened,
Amazing.
love. Please keep spreading your music, your light, your wisdom, and keep that divine couple working.
Okay.
We need divine couples. We need you. And let's go to enlightened.
Being
Let's
enlightened,
close the
okay.
show. May you feel your call this week. May you feel your moments of enlightenment and like really relish in it. And I have a question. This is something. If your life was a musical, what would be the theme song that plays behind you? I'm taking Stars.
Okay.
Stars. What's yours?
I don't know.
All right, keep thinking,
not-
Richie.
One of my songs?
What do you think a song for Cindy? What's playing in the background of Cindy?
That song that I wrote for her called, I'm very bad with the titles of my songs. The One Thing. I'm sorry if I take you for granted. That one.
I'm
you know.
sorry if I take you for
Well,
granted.
that would be my song for you too.
Well, there you go.
So
I think
this
that-
way,
One
keep
Thing.
The
playing
one-
that in the background,
The one thing.
so you don't take her for granted. The
That's
one
right.
thing.
Taking Richie for granted.
No taking each other for granted. I think that's really the one thing that does break sacred couples.
Yeah. And thanks,
You
man,
start-
for having me on and sent on.
Oh,
and
you guys are
you,
awesome.
I got to tell
Love
you,
you're amazing.
I think that you are going to really open up a lot of people's lives. You know,
Yes.
you'll be
Amen.
a surrogate mother to a
Yes.
lot of people.
Yes.
Amen.
You
Amen. That's a
truly
prayer
are.
that I declare and would honor.
Yeah.
I would honor the role.
Well,
Thank
with that,
you,
it's
you
an
two.
honor.
And I just have to
Here
give a
with
shout out to Bobby, who's still handsome.
Bobby, still handsome. We tried to tempt Bobby with one of these red apples. Bobby is our producer,
work.
but it didn't work. He's a good Catholic boy.
Oh, he is.
Okay, on to Enlightened. Here we go. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Well, Moses climbed a mountain looking for a wise old sage. And when he finally came upon one, he thought it don't look half his age. He said, I got some burning questions I was hoping you could answer. The sage said, don't smoke cigarettes if you don't want the cancer. Well, Moses closed his eyes and waited for the Holy Grail. But when he opened them, he was alone. The sage had left no trail. But in the dirt at Moses' feet, the sage had left a note. And Moses crumbled to the ground, 'cause this is what he wrote. What the hell do I know about being enlightened? I spend half my time afraid, and then the other half I'm frightened. So if you think I'm a god in life, then sadly you're mistaken, because half the time I'm lying and the other half I'm faking. Well, Sally waited all her life to meet her big guru. And when she finally met him, she had just turned 62. She said, all my prayers are answered. He said, you must pray pretty small, because all my prayers begin with God, just give it to me all. Well, Sally dropped down to her knees to kiss the groom's feet. He said, honey, if you're desperate, there's a place just down the street. And as she fell back into the room, the crowd swept her away. And as she stumbled out the door, she heard her guru say, what the hell do I know about being enlightened? I spend half my time afraid, and any other half I'm frightened. So if you think I'm a guiding light, then sadly you're mistaken, because half the time I'm lying and the other half I'm faking. And there's always some millionaire shaman who tell you to let go of all things material, as he sits down at your kitchen table and eats your last bowl of cereal. What the hell do I know about being enlightened? I spend half my time afraid, and any other half I'm frightened. So if you think I'm a guiding light, then sadly you're mistaken, because half the time I'm lying and the other half I'm faking. The other half I'm faking. The other half I'm faking. The other half I'm faking.